Hello guys and welcome back to the Motor Recon podcast. I'm your host Adam. I'm joined again today by Rob. Today is the final episode of season 2 of the podcast, so we're going to do a little bit of a challenge what we've been set by one of our listeners, and then we're just going to move on to a bit of another topic, which is the best shows to visit in the UK and even around the world, to be honest, that again we've also been asked to do by a listener. So just as the final season, we're letting you guys control the narrative. So the first challenge, number 1, which was given by one of our listeners, was the 50k challenge. Now, we have adapted it slightly. So what he said to us was, you've got £50,000, you've got to find a car, you've got to also include within that price your insurance, your running costs for a year, like fuel and things like that, service, MOT, also as well, a trip to the Nurburgring, plus all your tickets, trains, all that kind of stuff, everything included. So basically, what we did, we looked on Auto Trade what we can get. We based it on the average of 12,000 miles, that is the UK average of mileage. Yeah. We got genuine insurance quotes for ourselves. We didn't lie on any of them. We put our actual details in, and then we see what we can get. So, I'll kick us off with one I did, because yours is slightly different, and we'll come on to why yours is different in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, the car I picked, I'll put up on screen for you guys watching now, was a Jaguar F-Type 5-litre V8 supercharged one, so the F-Type R.
I couldn't believe at how good value that these turned out to be.
No, me neither. Which was actually good. So the car itself was £37,989, as you will see from the image on screen, which I don't think's too bad.
It's relatively new, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Yeah, it was a 14 plate. So
not ancient, not by any stretch.
No, and they haven't changed the design really.
No,
it still looks obviously brand new. Now, a genuine insurance quote for me. This was going to and from work with 12,000 miles a year, which is what I do anyway. Was £1,385.32.
Honestly, not that bad, to be honest. When you consider some of the insurance quotes that we've had over the years, I'm not that. Yeah. Considering the car, I wouldn't. No.
When I've spent £3,300 insuring a Nissan Micra.
Yeah, exactly.
£1,300 for an F-Type.
Seems like bargain of the century.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining at that. So the fuel rate, so it's a 70-litre tank in the F-Type. And if you're looking online, was averaging around 26 mpg combined. So what I did was, obviously, I worked it out. It's a 70-litre tank as well, as mentioned. So worked it out into a gallon and did all that. So fuel for 12,000 miles will cost me £2,604.
Yeah.
Which, for a big V8, sort of what you consider a sports car, I don't think that's too bad.
Look, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah,
I mean, you're getting a 5-litre V8. You're not going to get economy. That's just not going to happen.
No, which I think is not bad. A service, Jaguar actually on their website have a very good clear-cut thing. So it's a set price service. We're assuming nothing is wrong with the car.
Yeah, it was just an interim service.
Yeah, just your bog standard interim service, which was £325.
Yeah. Don't
think that's too bad at all, really. Channel tunnel tickets. So this is actually, now we're going to include the Nurburgring thing in this now. So the Nurburgring from where we are based, it was
620 miles each way.
Yeah, so 1,040 miles total. 1,240 miles total, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and the channel tunnel tickets were £60 total. So a return ticket for the Eurotunnel, £60. Don't think that's too bad. The actual Nurburgring itself, obviously it's a toll road, is £26.
Yep.
MOT for the car, £30, standard MOT price at ATS down the road.
That's what we did. We punched it into their thing, anything under 3 tons.
Yeah,
there you go.
Even though it's a whatever. So yeah, £30 for the MOT, which I don't think is too bad. And then fuel to and from Germany. So we did a separate bit of fuel for the German trip, was £230. So that gave me a total price of £42,649.32.
Well under the 50 grand.
Well under 50 grand. Now, he did, to be fair, I will say to him, because I know he'll be listening to this, he did say we had to get within 2 grand of 50k.
Yeah.
It's so hard, because I thought insurance would be so much more expensive than what it was.
Well, as we're about to find out with my pick, you can get some stupidly good cars for good value for money.
And the way we've done this as well, because I know it was a challenge, and I will try and do it. I'll keep working on it to try and get within 2 grand of 50k for him.
Yeah.
However, I just thought that even with a car like that, 42.5 grand, call it.
Yeah.
So I'll let you explain what your reasoning is behind your choice, because obviously it's a slightly different than the 50k challenge.
Yeah. So, what I decided to do was I had a look at the car that Adam had got together, and I decided I was going to try and get myself a good car and do the whole Nurburgring challenge, everything that was required, but for less than just the car that Adam went for. So I wanted to get it all done for under £37,000, basically.
Yeah, and also find the best
car I could to do it in as well. So I've got my statistics up, and either way, found an absolute steal. So the car that I've chosen to use is an Aston Martin DB9.
There will be a picture coming up now of this exact one we found, so you can see the price is genuine.
Yeah, it looked in stunning condition.
Yeah, even the interior.
It looked really nice. And that was up for sale for a price of £24,500.
Yeah, which is unbelievable.
It's mad, isn't it?
Was it 60,000 miles?
Yeah, it was 60-odd thousand miles, I think. It wasn't a huge amount.
Not the end of the world at all.
So, so that's how much the car cost. So then I went and got insurance quotes, and I couldn't believe how cheap the insurance turned out to be.
Especially for you, because Rob is younger than me.
Yeah.
He's not even 25 yet, so insurance usually drops when you're 25.
Yep. And again, I used all of my genuine details to get an insurance quote for this. And I got a quote for £1,141.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. For a DB9.
Some things to mention about the insurance quote, though, which are probably worth knowing, is there is quite a high excess. So there's a compulsory excess of £250 and a voluntary excess of £1,000. So that puts me up, if I have an accident, to £1,250.
Yeah, I had the same as well, actually, I should explain.
That cost did include personal accident cover, and it also included a courtesy car, which is quite nice. But it didn't include breakdown cover, and it also didn't include motor legal protection.
No, but that's fine.
It was a base cost, though, for comprehensive insurance with my genuine details.
I wouldn't feel uncomfortable buying that.
I think the reason I got decent insurance stems down to the fact that the car, actually, for as good as it is, isn't worth a huge amount of money.
No.
You think about it from the insurance company's perspective. If the worst case happened and I did end up writing it off, 20 odd grand or whatever is not... Well, I think they came out at approximately 19 grand that they would pay out.
They'd pay out up to 19 grand.
It was roughly that amount.
Yeah, mine were paying out 34.
Yeah. So that in itself, I mean, if you're paying out less than 20 grand on the car, I mean, Christ, you could end up paying out more for hatchbacks and stuff.
Well, if you buy a brand new like Corsa or Fiesta or something, you can spend more than that.
Yeah.
So
that was great. So obviously, once the insurance was through, I realised that there was actually a decent chance of me getting all of this wrapped up in under the amount that just the base cost of your car was.
Yeah. So the goal was less than 37. So what? Go on, read your numbers out.
So the next one was fuel for the year.
Okay.
So it had a 80-litre tank, I believe.
Yep.
And I worked it out that for, I think it was 12,000 miles average yearage, we were looking at about 3,564 quid for fuel, which is significantly more than you.
It is, but it did only do 19 miles to the gallon.
Give or take.
Yeah, give or take. And obviously in the real world you might get less, but if you're doing a constant motorway miles, which you do, you might get more.
Well, as you say as well, stick it into, I don't know whether it had a 6-speed box or more than that, but...
86, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just stick it in 6th and it'll have long legs. Fuel for getting to and from the Nurburgring. Again, we're based in the same location, so it was the same 620 miles. I reckoned it was 4 tanks of fuel.
Yeah.
To do a round trip, and that was looking at about 500 quid in fuel.
Not so bad. Double mine.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Yeah. Service. So we looked on and approved, obviously, a proper Aston Martin.
It was HRO and Aston Martin.
And we had a look at the service costs, and 770 quid, so significantly more than yourself.
Because we looked at the realistic prices for this. So the actual mileage of what that car was on, the next service which it said it would need on their site. It actually did have listed specified prices for the V12s, and that's where it came up at. So we know that's the genuine cost you would pay.
Yeah.
Assuming nothing was wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. We are assuming that there wasn't any sort of problems. Next one was similar cost to yourself. So channel tunnel, 60 quid.
Yeah.
No life at all, £26. MOT, 30. So assuming that nothing was wrong with it, obviously. And that brought me to a grand total of 30,591 quid.
Yeah. Now, this did actually get me thinking, because if you can get a V12 Aston Martin fairly low, well, consider what most people buy second-hand cars at, that mileage isn't that high. I know it's a lot for a supercar, it's a GT car kind of thing, but I don't think it would be that unreliable.
No, me neither.
Because it's fairly modern car still. And you can do it all for, like, even driving it for a year and insuring it, you can do it all for the same price as, like, a Focus ST.
Yeah. No, I agree. It is appealing in some respects, I guess. I think it's probably high time that I talk about some of the stats from the DB9, just so that we can see how it fares.
I'll do mine as well after, so we'll do your DB9.
Yeah, we'll start with the DB9, and we're looking at a sort of 6-litre naturally aspirated V12. You're looking at approximately 450 brake horsepower, pretty good. And you're looking at a 0 to 60 sprint of approximately 4.7 seconds, Which top speed of 186 mile an hour. It's perfectly good.
Yeah, it's still fast these days. Like, obviously, the DB9 is quite an old car now.
Yeah.
In that sense, but it's still quick. That would beat a lot of cars.
Still sprite. It's enough.
Yeah,
it's definitely enough.
Now, when we're playing top trumps, this is I think where I win this one.
Yeah.
Obviously, technically it's a smaller engine, being a 5-litre V8, but it is supercharged. And it pushes out 550 brake horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of you who've heard an F-Type V8, they are very loud, but I think yours will sound better. 4.1 seconds 0 to 60, which perfectly reasonable. Isn't it? Yeah. Still tear your head off. And you said, the combined MPG, as we mentioned, is 25.9. I rounded it up to 26 for ease of
ease of calculations.
Ease of calculations, but yeah, so I think that's pretty reasonable for a 37 grand sports car. And mine was actually quite low mileage. I can't remember the exact number, but it was fairly reasonable mileage.
The thing about these cars is they fulfill similar-ish briefs, as in they're both British coupe sort of sports cars, if you like.
Yeah.
They're both the type of car that you could see yourself doing a big sort of long distance.
Yeah, they are reasonably comfortable.
That's what I mean.
Especially yours.
As you said, mine is very much built with the GT mindset. It's sort of in its brief.
Front engine, rear wheel drive, decent boot, comfortable inside. Does have rear seats, should your passengers not have legs.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
But you can chuck something on the rear bench.
Yeah, you can use it as extra storage. Extra storage by all means, yeah.
I think as far as the DB9 is concerned, some of its direct competitors, I expect within a similar-ish price range, would probably be something like an old Continental GT.
Yeah, roughly similar prices, I'd say.
Roughly, because, I mean, that will fulfill a similar brief of being your British sports car that, again, both good GT credentials, you got the badge. As you say, I think, and for the money as well, they both probably could do it for a similar-ish kind of cash. Maybe you would want to go for an old V8 Vantage instead. Yeah,
we should say, when we were looking for these things, the amount of Aston Martins for under 30 grand...
Oh, there was a lot, weren't there?
...is stupid. For sale in the UK anyway. We did a national search for cars rather than just round here, because it's easier. But the amount for under 30k is unreal. I imagine a lot of them will have issues.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, that's just the way it is. But I think we struggled to find supercars from other brands that came under that banner, didn't we?
Yeah, because the thing that, obviously the main challenge that he did set was we had to get within 2 grand of 50k. So between 48,000 and 50,000. I couldn't do it.
Well, I think the trouble is, it was a case of if you weren't buying yourself something like mine, which was a DB9, which actually turned out to be crazy cheap. If you were going, I mean, if you're targeting supercars, So you could very easily get yourself within that broad price range if you were targeting cars that weren't. I just wanted something extremely extravagant.
Well, yeah, that's why yours was. I did the 50k thing, and then you just said, well, I'll try and get the whole entire job for less than your car.
Yeah, and I want to go as extravagant as I can.
Yeah.
Essentially, I wanted a car that filled a similar-ish brief to the one that yours did.
Yeah, but for a lot less.
But for a lot less, and some would argue you're probably getting a lot more badge for your money as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
a lot of people do compare Jaguar and Aston Martin because at points they're both owned by Ford. They have the same designers. They even use the same parts. Like the DB7's got like Mondeo switches in it and things like that, as did Jaguars at the time.
Well, yeah, if you look at the Jag XK8 and you look at the Aston Martin DB7, you can very much tell that there is familial links between them.
Oh, of course. And even now, like the new Jaguars and Aston Martins, you can tell they're sort of similar design briefs.
Yeah, and I think Jag sort of slot in just under that, though. I think they appeal to that market in the UK, at least, of people who want a British sports car, but don't necessarily have the cash to throw about to get themselves an Aston.
Yeah.
Especially since Aston is pricing themselves more in that
sort of
upper end now.
Bentleys,
aren't they?
Ferraris, and things like that.
Exactly, yeah. I think Jag come in and say, well, you can still have a good quality British sports car with a good badge to it as well for under 100k.
Yeah.
And
the one thing as well, I think that obviously during the course of you driving this car for a year, you'll have to pay for things. Whereas because I'm in a Jag, everything is free.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even know why I calculate the fuel.
Exactly.
I don't even know why I calculate the fuel cost. I just drive off.
Exactly. Yeah.
No one's going to mind. You're in a Jag, so.
But one of the points it does raise is the fact that obviously you could probably get yourself an F-Type, maybe, I don't know, one of the 2-litre F-Types, maybe get it for a little bit less money.
Oh, comfortably.
I'm not sure how it could work.
Yeah.
But you might even, who knows, you potentially could get something within warranty.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They do depreciate pretty fast.
Yeah,
so,
maybe, you know.
I might do some more digging on that actually. I might report back in a
That's the thing.
future
I
thing.
think it's well worth us coming back to this topic and seeing realistically, can we get some cars in for under 50 grand that are proper sports cars, but they
still have warranties.
They still have warranty and things. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all right then. I think that's a good place to stop, and we'll move straight on to our next topic, which was requested by another one of our listeners. Now, he has asked for shows that we'd recommend going, like car events or car shows that we would recommend going to. That obviously we're looking on to discuss ones we have experienced.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go to Monterey Car Week, but I've never been, so I can't comment on it. For me, I think the first one I will always mention is probably the best show you'll ever go to is the Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Yeah, obviously we dedicated a lot of the previous podcast.
Well, we had pretty much an entire episode for that one. So if you are listening, I won't say your name just for privacy reasons.
Yeah.
If you are listening, obviously you're more than welcome to go back and listen to the Goodwood special and why we think that is sort of the best show around. Another one for me, which is one we have done, what is it now, 3 times perhaps, the Geneva Motor Show.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the Geneva. I think Goodwood is more of a celebration of the cars that have gone in some respects.
Yeah, they do have new stuff.
They do have new stuff there, but Goodwood, I feel, is a big celebration of cars of present, past and future.
It's all things
in one
fast.
place. Exactly. It's a festival of speed. It's implied in the name. Whereas Geneva, I think, is very good to go and see the cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, it's where a lot of the big manufacturers do their unveilings. Like where the first time we went was the unveiling of the Chiron. I think the Koenigsegg Regera.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple. Yeah, there was Ferrari. I think did a couple of unveils. I think it was the 812 Superfast at that time. The first time we went. Don't quote me on that, but it was something like that. Various other things like that. It's where they bring their latest and greatest, and everyone's there. All on display. You can even get up close and personal with most of the cars. You can sit in them and like have a play around with some of the cheaper stuff anyway.
I think the second time that we went, though, some of the noticeable differences were a lot more electric influence. The second
heavily,
time
heavily, yeah.
You can tell that that was over a year ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last March.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it had a much more heavily influenced sort of electric.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it's going to keep going.
I remember the second time that we went, there was the M8 concept floating around, or the 8 Series concept.
I think it was the... No, it was the...
There was the 8...
No, it was the 8 Series, and Goodwood had the M8. Well, but I don't think you were
I
there
don't
for
think
that
I
one.
went
It was
for that
2
one,
years
no.
ago, that
Yeah.
one, the M8.
So I remember when the M8 was floating around. I also remember the Formula E Gen 2 cars. There was quite a big presence of those the second
There
time
were,
that we went.
yeah. Which
So it must have been coming round at that point in time. Yeah, Geneva's fantastic. We would recommend that we stayed over the second time. The first time we literally just went for the day.
Yeah, we flew to Geneva and back in a day and went to the show. It is very much doable.
It is.
If you want to do it, that is very much doable, but we would recommend staying over.
Yeah, we stayed over for a night, and it means that you can relax a little bit more, and also you can see a little bit of Geneva as well.
Yeah, you're not rushing, are you?
Yeah.
One thing I will say, actually, about both of these ones. So, Goodwood especially, if you are going to go, do it on the Thursday or Friday. Probably the Friday better off because everything's going up the hill on the Friday.
Yeah.
Because they always run from Thursday to Sunday. Thursday is quiet and a lot of the things aren't running.
Yeah.
Friday's great. Everything's running. All the stuff's been unveiled. But it's a weekday, so while it's still busy, it's a lot quieter. The weekends are absolutely unbearably busy. So you can't really get close to stuff because there's just too many people.
Yeah, I think I've only ever been on a Friday.
Yeah,
so,
because
obviously
yeah.
Adam's been going much longer than I have.
So we know how to do
Yeah.
that now. Geneva as well. The first time we went on the opening day of the show.
Yes, we did.
Unbearable.
Well, it was opening day
Yeah.
for the public, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that was the killer.
Yeah, it was unbearably busy. So when we've gone after that, we've gone at one of the last days of the show.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. Now,
Well, it was much
reasonably
better,
quiet. You weren't getting stuck in queues just to go and look at a car.
No, there was literally just jams. The first time we went, it was so busy. There was literally just jams of people.
Yeah, literally, like you just stood squashed in a thing, and it was really hot as well, which made it uncomfortable. And don't buy a sandwich there. Take your own food. That's one recommendation I'll go with. That was the most expensive ham sandwich we've ever had, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was nice though.
But that being said, though, Geneva, obviously, if you pick your day carefully, you can have a fantastic time. And again, you're looking at the cutting edge stuff as well. This is the latest,
and it actually is reasonably cheap. We did obviously flights, a hotel for the night, and going out. It was less than £100.
It was it was quite cheap.
Yeah, it was reasonably cheap. So it might be slightly more now, but obviously flight prices change depending on when you book it.
Yeah, we stayed in an Ibis budget, which obviously, if you're just staying for the night, it did the job.
Yeah,
you know?
some good stories around that, which we're not going to go into on here. Another show that I would definitely recommend, which I've been going to for some years now, is Top Marks Monaco. Now,
yeah,
I know we didn't accidentally, they changed the dates after we booked the last one.
Yeah.
So that last year was the first year I haven't been in a while. If you can go there, do it. The atmosphere is absolutely unreal. There's hundreds and hundreds of car spotters, which some would complain about, but it makes the atmosphere, it gives it a really good sort of vibe.
Yeah.
The show itself is actually quite small. The actual bit you can go and look at the cars. They have some great stuff there, and they have a lot of concept cars there. It's a lot more of what I consider maybe like your tuner companies like Mansory and Haman
that's
and
cool.
things like that. So
yeah.
it's more of that stuff than what I'd consider normal cars. The one thing that is different about Top Marks though, and not last year, the year before, I was fortunate enough to get a press pass. So you could go down into the test driving centre and things like that. And I did actually get a go, which was alright. So if you can, try and get a press pass, but I think you're hard pressed to now, because I think they've made the criteria, they've put it back up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, and also all of the cars that are in the show usually have a model of it driving around the streets as well. Mm-hmm. And because everyone goes, there's loads of nice cars just in Monaco anyway. So you'll see everything. Chirons, Veyrons, Zondas even, you name it.
Yeah.
They drive around Monaco, which is obviously worth going to see. Even some nice cars in Geneva, to be fair. I'm trying to think of another one that might be a bit more of a national thing, because obviously there's a lot of local car shows that we go to. Like there's one called Mitten Hall, which is fantastic, but I'm not sure where you're based, so...
well, obviously we are attending a car show in September down at Blenheim Palace, so we'll be able to report back on that.
Yeah, now we did. So the one this year, actually, I'll just the bit of a backstory in this one, because Blenheim Palace, they do a car show every year, which we actually did go to. Was it 2 years ago now?
Yeah, I think it was.
And it was just. It was some nice cars there, but it was just a couple of supercars in the sort of the main.
It was more in the
square,
courtyard,
in the courtyard.
Yeah.
The one this year is Salon Privé, which I'm sure you've heard of because they do that every year, but they've mixed it with a couple of other shows. So what we're going to have this year, and I have actually spoken to you about this on Instagram, and I know you are going to try and come to this. So what they're doing is they're doing Salon Privé, which is like They have a concourse bit. They have like the creme de la creme of sort of cars like McLaren F1s, Ferrari 250 GTOs. You know, the big dogs in the car world. But what they're going to have is they're going to have that supercars in the courtyard again. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be there just as a little sort of side show. And then 10:30 in the morning, what's going to be happening is that they've allegedly got 2,000 supercars, which is a hefty number.
Yeah, not insignificant.
Coming, they're on part of a road trip that they're doing. They're going to come to there on that Sunday and stop off at the show and display all their cars.
Okay.
So there'll be 2,000 supercars turning up as part of that. We've got Bentley doing their 100-year celebration, which they did do at Goodwood, but this will be a bit more of a...
Actually, Goodwood, this will actually be quite interesting because Goodwood was more orientated around Aston Martin's celebration, wasn't it?
That was the main display one, but everyone had because Bentley did have a big centenary stand down on the bottom bit, and a few others were celebrating as well. Was it some Porsche celebration as well, something like that? I'm not sure. Pagani, wasn't it?
Yes, that was it. Pagani was celebrating their 20th anniversary, wasn't it, at the Zonda?
Yeah, so that was all good. So I think they're also doing that here as well, but it's only going to be 5 cars. Okay. I think they've got the Cinque, the Oliver, and a few others. So yeah, I have spoken to you about this. So if you can get to Blenheim, definitely try. Mm-hmm. The tickets are near enough sold out, so if you're going to do it, decide quite quickly. What other ones would I recommend? We've done the classic car show at the NEC.
At the NEC, yeah.
Classic car show at the NEC. I got to be honest, actually, the last year we went, it was actually last year, I was a little bit disappointed compared to what it has been like in the past. I know it was your first year, but from the years before, it's been insane there.
I mean, I quite enjoyed it. I quite like my classic cars.
Yeah, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, I'm just saying.
We had a really good conversation with the guy who owned an Aston Martin DB3.
We did. Yeah, the racing DB3.
So I think, actually, I would say the classic car show is a bit more of a social event, actually.
Yeah, you can do a lot of chatting with owners. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's quite good to talk to a lot of people there, which is nice. Not going to lie, I was a bit on the ropes that day.
You were.
I was recovering from a really bad cold, so I'd like to go back because I don't think I did it justice first time around because I wasn't feeling too hot.
You just couldn't concentrate.
I just couldn't concentrate on things.
Yeah, so I think that's one we can look into doing perhaps maybe next year. I think we've missed it this year already, if not later on.
Hurricane.
It's I was looking past. It's actually Sean, a guy we know called Sean's driving past in his Hurricane. What I was going to say, there's one I do want to go to, which I haven't been to yet, which is Autosport International at the NEC. That's just a racing one, so you have all your F1, all your WEC, all your touring cars.
You see, now I'd be very interested in that.
All your Le Mans, basically
BTCC.
Yeah, everything. Everything racing, it's Autosport International. So that's one I think we should definitely book in for 1 year. I think it's in January, so we could potentially do it next year.
That's actually a good... And also, it's not within the sort of car show, sort of summer...
No, it's in winter, so
it's in winter, so we wouldn't be doing one at that time anyway.
Yeah, because I know this from experience. I speak to a lot of different car spotters, and I'm in a lot of different car spotting group chats and things like that. And people do struggle for content in winter because you go obviously in summer, you can go spotting, you can go to all the shows, you can go to all the meets, and you're getting all your content. And then winter, unless you go abroad, you're kind of stuck. Having these shows during that time. Good idea.
Yeah, I think we should try and get ourselves to that. That sounds good.
So now while we haven't been to that directly, I can't comment on it. It's one I want to go to, looking at the videos and pictures, and I would recommend you probably would like it yourself if you're a car fan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Probably just I don't know where you're based, so it's struggle to think of the local ones really, because we have so many little ones, don't we? Like Townley Car Show, Mittenhall, the Supercars in the Park. If you can get to it, they do it in a few different locations. And that was the last one I went to was at Newby Hall, which is near Ripon in North Yorkshire, near Harrogate. Actually, you've probably heard of Harrogate. That was great. There was loads of cars, even like McLaren Sennas and things turned up. So
yeah, that's a pretty good show, to be honest.
Pretty decent show. Yeah. And that's probably it. The big shows I would recommend. Obviously, all your local car meets you're probably already aware of anyway. Is there any more you can think of that you'd recommend that we've been to?
Interestingly, though, on a side note, I would say that not necessarily a car show, but I think it's well worth going to. Yeah, I would say if you can ever get yourself down to the Formula One, particularly Silverstone.
Yeah.
I spent the entire weekend there in 2016, obviously, and it's not necessarily a car show as such. It's just it had a similar atmosphere to Goodwood in a lot of respects.
Yeah, everyone's having a good time.
But it's very car orientated as well. So
yeah, well, I've seen pictures from the car park. It's always full of nut stuff anyway.
Race day is nuts. So yeah, I was camping next to a guy who had the Corvette Stingray.
Okay, nice.
So that was interesting. So it's often quite interesting in the fields around it, doing some car spotting, and obviously. When you see the drivers' parade and things like that, they usually bring out a lot of the classics as well. So it is a good event to go to.
No, yeah. I've been to Formula One. It was a good weekend. So yeah, something you might want to look at. So yeah, that probably concludes it for us. There is obviously more car shows we've been to, but like I said, they're all a bit more local, and I'm not entirely sure where you're based. So if you are in the northwest of England, then let me know, and I'll
we can give you a list of some of the
northwest
ones.
More of the northwest stuff. But so that's it, and I think that's a good place to wrap it up. If you've got anything to discuss, So that's the end of season 2. We will be back again in next week for the start of season 3. All the links are in the bottom for the social media, so like these guys, you can get in touch and give us some topics that you might want us to discuss.
Yeah.
And just any feedback in general is always welcome. I'll always respond to you. So, thank you very much, guys, for listening. See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye.